What's up, everybody? Welcome to yet another installment of Ask PJ Braun here at the Blackstone Labs headquarters. Today, we have another special guest. We saw all the comments, everybody saying keep the hot chicks coming, so we brought on mizforeignfit. Sabrina is here with us today to talk to PJ about, the regular old banter. We had a couple people send in some questions to ask her, so we're going to get to those in a timely manner. But, we always like to start off the intros with a little bit of banter and bullshit, so tell us, how has your stay in Florida been so far?
Amazing. I really, really love it here in Florida. I've been exploring and went to the beach, and it's just really, really beautiful place. I love it here.
For those of you who aren't familiar with mizforeignfit, she is from El Paso, Texas. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about El Paso, Texas.
That must be why I have El Paso, Texas in my fucking Instagram ads.
Yes, that's hilarious.
That's why.
That is hilarious.
Yep. It's a quiet little slow city. It's right in the middle of the desert, right on the border of Juarez, Mexico. I'm not going to talk bad about it, but I'm pretty glad to be moving out of there. Just put it that way.
Is it a very Spanish area?
Mexican.
Very Mexican. I mean, Spanish speaking.
I
always get corrected, by the way. I think Latin people are so funny how they are so specific about their heritage, because I don't mean it like that. I always mean it like they speak Spanish, you know what I mean? Because Mexican's not a language. Right. But I actually said this once, and a Spanish guy from Spain goes, actually Mexicans speak fucking Mexican. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, it's not Spanish like we speak.
There's a big difference, actually.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, just the dialect and the way they say certain things, and I guess you could say accent that they have is completely different than when you're speaking actual proper Spanish from Spain. And I don't speak Spanish because my family never taught it to me. But here, when I'm around, Spanish people, you can tell the differences night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the accent is kind of you could say something that to somebody that doesn't understand the language sounds pretty similar, but it actually means something totally different.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all of the different Spanish-speaking countries have their own unique dialect, and even the delivery of some of the words is different.
Or the order in which it's said.
Yeah, people from Venezuela, for instance, talk different than people from Argentina.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, it seems like they're all hard on the Mexicans.
I agree. It's because it's two totally different worlds, I feel like. And I'm glad that you brought it up. A guy from Spain was actually. Mm-hmm. It's because when people say that to me, oh, you're Mexican, or you're Hispanic, and I say the same, I'm actually, I'm not Hispanic, I'm Latina, and there's two different things, because Mexicans are Hispanic, and Latinas are more Venezuela, Spain, all those Portuguese. It is completely two totally different worlds.
So you're what'd you say your ethnic background was?
Spanish and Puerto Rican.
But did you tell me that you speak German?
I do speak German. Yeah, I speak fluent.
How does that make sense?
My mom
She's worldly, all right?
Yeah. My mom met my stepdad when I was 6 years old, and he is in the German Air Force. And he adopted me, and they got married, and I actually lived in Europe for about 5 years.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So Chris Heron speaks... Chris Heron is German, so you guys can have a conversation after this.
Really?
In customer service, yeah.
Oh,
he'll get
cool.
Excited. He has nobody.
You won't really want to talk to him.
Yeah, but I mean, he has nobody to speak German with, so.
I don't have anybody besides my father who I speak German with, so it's
Actually, I'm gonna get a kick out of watching that after this. So
who else did we do that with? Who else spoke German? Kiara.
Yes, Kiara. Yep.
No way.
Yeah, they had a funny little conversation too.
Oh wow.
So this is how it all started, guys. I'm going to give you a quick background on this. So I kept on seeing Sabrina doing demos for us. And I'm like, where'd this girl come from that's doing all the demos? And so after, it was probably the third or fourth time I had seen her do a demo, I reached out to Sammy, and I go, who's that girl that keeps doing the demos in Texas? And he was like, I found her. And I was like, oh, she was really pretty. She's got a sick body. I mean, where'd she come from? And I forget what he said. And then after that, I started following her, and I sent her some clothes so she could have more outfits for the demos. And then basically I was like, you know what? It's time to just bring you on full speed. So brought her on full speed, and she started posting a lot and doing a lot, and she had the desire to possibly move to Florida. And I said, well, I can probably get you in with somebody with a job down here. Why don't you come down for a week? We'll shoot some videos. We'll train. We'll do a photo shoot. I'll introduce you to some people, and we'll see what happens. And the first day that she was here, she said she wanted to move here.
First day. Mm-hmm.
It's hard not to want to move here.
Especially from El Paso, Texas.
I feel like it's
from
probably
really anywhere.
I feel like it's kind of boring in El Paso, Texas.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
I've said it before in podcasts, but like basically, if you live in the United States, and no matter where you live, even if you live in one of these spots, you may want to live in one of the other spots. But there's 3 hot spots, and it's New York, Florida, and California, and Florida's definitely the best.
South Florida.
Yeah, you do not want to live in fucking.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna make a statement right now. I think it's a bold statement, and I think that you'll agree with me. So whenever people want to like hurry up and move down here, right? The first thing they want to do is like move right into the heart of Miami. And it's sort of a terrible mistake.
It's horrible.
It's a bit of a terrible mistake, but people do it. Girls often do it.
Girls have more success with it, though.
They do, because they can do more things that only girls can do, if you know what I mean.
You know what I'm saying?
So, like, for instance, Lindsay Moreno want to get out of Philly, outside of Philly either, which Philly sucks anyway. Sorry for everybody in Philly, but it does. And if you're outside of Philly, you're not even in the sucky spot. So you're trying to get to the sucky spot.
You're outside the suck.
Yeah, you're outside of the suck. And so she went right down into Miami. She's transitioning okay, but it's a little harder than she thought. Traffic is crazy, she keeps telling me, which I knew anyway. I'm like, you should have moved to Boca, right? And so a lot of people, when they come down here, they're like, oh, I'm going to go to Miami. And I tell them, you should go north a little bit. You can go to Fort Lauderdale if you want, or you can be in what I call the Boca area, which is like Boca, Deerfield, Delray, Boynton, I suppose. And anywhere in the United States.
Boynton is not the Boca area.
It's like the outskirts.
No, it's totally different culture.
The line, I call it.
Yeah, I would definitely
East Coast line.
I would lump Delray in with the Boca
definitely
area for sure. But then you get a little bit. You had in Lake Worth, right?
All right. Well, I still consider Deerfield as part of that area.
Deerfield also still has some nicer areas.
There a lot of what I do is in Deerfield. It's basically there's a few miles of Federal Road in each direction, north and south, that you can't go wrong on.
Yeah. If you're on Federal, you
cannot
you're on that side of the train tracks.
Basically, you gotta move to Federal Road. Is what I'm trying to say. It's not even about what city or town. You just move to Federal Road.
But if you do that, don't worry. You're gonna have that Miami traffic experience every day on Federal, because as soon as you get off Federal, it'll be all right. It functions normally.
Saturdays on the beach over there is the worst. But anyway, the point I've been dragging this on to say is, when people are like, "Oh, Boca is boring," they'll often say to me, but I will tell you right now, no matter where you are in the United States, before you think that you're just going to rush to Miami, and you might think to yourself that Boca is boring, Boca is without a doubt better than where you live. Better than where you live, for sure. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Philly or El Paso or where I was from in Connecticut, or where you're from.
Aside from like Rodeo Drive in California, this is it.
It's pretty awesome. It really is. Everyone thinks for some reason that Boca is all like old, rich, retired Jewish people, which there's
a ton.
A lot of those. There's a lot of those.
A bunch.
But there's a lot of other shit too. And you just got to know where all the good stuff is. That's it.
Anything that's the best of the best, or anything that's high end, it's generally stationed in Boca. Like, oh, you want to get your car wrapped? Well, take it to Boca. Oh, you want to do something, with the best supplements? Well, they're in Boca.
Yep.
Like it's generally like the hot spot for people that know how to market their product well and know that they have a better product than their competition. And this is why would you want to be somewhere else?
Every time I go to cryotherapy, right, and I walk to my car, which takes 30 seconds, every day I see at least 2 or 3 women that men from anywhere in the country would consider perfect 10s. And down here, they're like 8s.
I was going to say 7.
Maybe 7. But like anytime I have anyone around, they're like, did you see that girl? Did you see that girl? And I'll be like, yeah, there's tons of them down here. There's so many. There's just the cars. Like, you can drive down Meisner, and you'll see 3 Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini, a Ferrari. you go outside, you don't see anything like that. There's just a lot of good stuff, a lot of action.
Like when we went to where was it for the concert, way out there in the middle of nowhere. If you were to see like a regular stock Tesla, you'd be like, oh my god. Here people have like body kits on like
they
Tesla.
do.
That's
they
like
wrap Teslas.
that's like weight reduced and like smokes Mustangs off the line and shit. Like they're just good because I can.
Mm-hmm.
Like
she'll probably still move to Miami after all this, but I'm just putting that out there. So this weekend we have the I'm actually pretty excited about this. So it's the Miami Fit Life Productions Expo, right? And so it's a amateur show and a pro show. And I've been training Steph Sakara, the ab chick, for the pro show. We have booths at the show. We got a lot going on. We are going to be the official backstage sponsor, which is pretty cool. I've never done anything like that before. It means I get to hang out back there. But there's a hot body competition.
oh, I'm entering.
And I wanted to enter too, but apparently it's girls only.
What?
And
this is so sexist in 2019.
well, it's kind of funny because the promoter of the show was like, you got all these hot girls. Like, do you have anybody that wants to do it? It's $1,000 to the winner. And I was like, I have a girl in town that's pretty goddamn hot. And I sent him a picture of her, and he like DM'd her right away and was like, please do.
He's like, where do you want me to send the check?
So we got to get her a bikini now.
Just need to figure out who second place is now.
Yep, seriously.
Yeah.
I was like, who's going to beat her?
No one.
Oh, the confidence. There you go.
Confidence.
It's not like all the other competitions where you're like, you look really good, but you never know. A Jack Black guy could show up.
Yeah, it's not going to be one of those.
It's not gonna
You're not
happen.
going to lose to a Jack Black guy at this
Nope.
one. Are you nervous at all about doing this?
Honestly, I'm gonna say no right now, but of course, probably when I'm about to go walk out on stage, of course the nerves are gonna kick in. But as of right now, I'm chilling.
Do you know like what your moves are going to be when you go out there?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, so reading.
Have you seen her Instagram?
Yes. I saw her with orangutan yesterday. That's all I needed to see.
Yeah. So reading the ad that they had on the Instagram, it's going to be based off of wellness bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing they want, poses that are similar to wellness, which I'm pretty much really good at by now. So I'm just going to do my thing, what I usually do. I mean,
is there a audience like noise portion of the vote? Like crowd participation?
I don't know.
Oh,
Like whoever gets the most
The
cheers
loudest,
on the
yeah.
clapometer.
on the clapometer.
I hope so.
You'll definitely win because Sammy and I are both very loud.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
We usually compete with each other to see who's louder.
You'll be able to
Nice.
hear Sammy like 3 miles away. Like, what's that sound?
Are you sad to be going home on Sunday?
Very sad.
You are?
I was literally, I don't know if I told you, like when I got here the first day, I was like, I'm already thinking about Sunday and I'm already dreading Sunday.
Before it even started?
Before it even started, I was like, oh my God, I'm dreading Sunday.
You've done some fun stuff outside of all the Blackstone stuff too. You've gone to the movies, you went to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had a productive week.
Yeah, it was very productive. I visited a couple of the LA fitnesses here, which were very nice because we don't have those in El Paso. So it was a good change up in gym scenery.
What gym you have in El Paso?
So the one that I go to is a locally owned gym. It's called Sun City Athletic Club. It's
I've heard of that one.
yeah, it's a pretty decent gym.
It looks good in the videos that you post.
Yeah, it's more of like a bodybuilding
Yeah.
type iron weight, gym. So
Like a hardcore gym.
yeah.
We like
So I like it a lot. And of course it's it's in a warehouse, so it gets pretty hot in
There's
there.
a lot of those in Texas. That's
Yeah,
like the
there is.
Texas thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask, what is worse, the Texas heat or the Florida heat?
Honestly, I really got to go with Texas heat.
Because it's dry, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't the temperatures get up to like in the 110s in the summertime, and you go out. Yeah, here you go outside and you start sweating or whatever, but out there you walk outside and it feels like your skin's on fire because the sun's just
Dude,
so
the
hot.
dry heat never bothered me. Like
No?
we've been out in Vegas where it's been like in the hundreds and it's dry as fuck and it's hot.
It's not the dry heat that bothers me. It's the fact that it like dries out your lips and your face.
Yeah, it
Yes.
dries your face out, which sucks.
Yes.
That sucks.
I hate that so
But the
bad.
cold does that to me too.
Yeah.
Every
Quicker,
every
actually.
time I go up north, like in the wintertime, my face gets wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you the worst, Houston, Texas. Because Houston, Texas, it's really hot and it's really humid. It's like worse than here humid.
Wow.
I remember I used to have to go there with the ex, and I would straight up tell her, like, I will go to the gym and that's it. I'm staying inside in the air conditioner. I do not want to go anywhere because it's like brutal. Like I'm talking, you're outside for a few minutes and you already have to shower. I've actually not been to a place that was as bad as the humidity in Houston, Texas.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we can keep talking about weather, or we can get into
some questions.
We're a little nervous, by the way, to our listeners that have gotten up to this point.
Well, luckily for everybody, the first couple questions are from the last podcast that we didn't get to because PJ needed to be somewhere on time, and so at least the first 4 or 5 are safe.
Okay.
So we'll ease into this. All right. First one says, "Hi PJ, my name is Melissa, and I am the executive assistant for." Oh, that's right. Should we read this or no?
Oh, I know where this one is. Probably shouldn't put them on blast like that.
Yeah, we won't put them on blast.
Put them on blast, but. I will say this. I would say this. I don't want to put them on blast. I would like to voice my opinion on something.
Okay.
There are things that you can get tattooed on your body that mean something to you. You know?
Like Blackstone Labs.
Yeah. There's people that have done it. There's at least 3 people that have Blackstone Labs tattoos. They've showed it to us.
Wow.
Kind of crazy, but cool, I guess, right?
Yeah.
There's actually one gentleman that has my name tattooed on his arm. That one blew my mind.
Signature.
And it was my signature, and I did not do a good job signing it, which I'm so pissed about. I would have did a better job. So now he has a sloppy signature on his arm. Shout out to Frank the Tank, by the way. But here's the thing. I think it's cool if you decide that you want to be drug-free, right? And by drug-free, I don't mean like free of like narcotics. I mean free of steroids, anabolic steroids. That's your prerogative. If you want to be boring, then that's fine. That's your prerogative. But to put a very large tattoo on yourself that actually just says drug-free is a strange and pointless, in my opinion, tattoo to have. Like, it means that much to you, and you want people to know that bad that you got it tattooed on your body. I mean, you're just drawing so much strange attention to yourself.
Wow.
I just think that is very, very weird, and that's like all I really want to talk about on that one.
It's got to be like one of those like fish hooks for straight edge girls.
Yes.
They see that and they're just like, "This is the motherfucker." Right
He's the wild time I've been looking for.
I'm in it. All right. Next one says, "PJ, thank you for recommending a certain stack for me. I purchased it Friday, and I need to know how you suggest I take everything. Recomp, Methaquad, Paraburn, Glycolog. I already had Trojan Horse and Apex Male. Just need to know what to take and what I can take together, what should be taken separate. As I said in my email earlier this week, I've lost 10 pounds just using Trojan Horse and eating clean. Cannot wait to see the results after using the stack. Thank you for all you do and your time. Josh, your car is badass. Karen, you're absolutely beautiful. Team Blackstone Labs, loyalty is everything, Legion."
He wanted to give some. He wanted to sneak a little love for Karen in there last week.
This is the last Karen question.
You can. Everyone always asks me like which products you can take together, right? You could fucking take all of them together. You could even take them all at the same time. I don't think that makes sense to, but there's nothing that's really bad that's going to happen. You're just kind of wasting your time on some of them. So if you're picking out a couple of products and somebody's like, "Oh, it makes no sense to take those together," why? I always like to hear the rationale. Like one time I had a guy who was like, "Oh, I can't take Trojan Horse and fast food because I'm not trying to lose weight." And I'm like, well, if you're not trying to lose weight, you don't need to take Trojan Horse
at all.
But it will still help you release those fat cells. So you're not like hurting yourself.
It'll prevent you from gaining fat.
You're not hurting yourself by doing it. And then I had another person that said that they couldn't do three-way has confused a lot of people. This my thought process is telling this. I had another person that was like, "Oh, I can't do three-way." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "So I'm trying to stay really lean." And I'm like, "So?" And he was like, "That's for mass." And I was like, "Who told you that one? That better not have come from the call center." And he was like, "Oh, my friend was like, I bulked up using three-way." I'm like, "How much was he using?" And he was like, "Oh, I think he was using like
6 tubs a week."
Yeah, bro. I'm like, "Well, if you're taking 4 times the dose of it." So he listed some pretty basic ones with like Recomp and the Recomp guys goes with every single pro hormone. It goes during cycle, it goes post cycle. There's no bad time. If you want to know what Keon Pearson is doing right now, by the way, I'll tell you what I have him doing on. I have him doing Recomp, Glycolog, Apex Male, and Halo Elite. Now, of course, he messes around with his pre-workouts and whatnot, but that was his post-contest, like capitalize on the rebound phase. That's what he's on, and he's getting sick results,
Yeah,
which
he looks
is
great.
awesome. So, some people might be like, oh, why would you take Apex Male and Recomp? You can't do that. I mean, you can. You can take Recomp with all the pro hormones too. I mean, stuff like that, you may get better results combining one with another. Like somebody might tell you, like Sammy, for instance, that you shouldn't take Brutal Force
I knew you were going to
with Chosen One, because one is for size and one is really to get harder. But somebody like me and other people that intelligently think about things will tell you that you should take them together because you'll get a better overall feel. And if anything, the results should be better. We're actually going to prove that. We're starting our whole test.
If you haven't been keen to the fact that we're running a Prove Sammy Wrong contest, you should watch PJ Braun's cardio Q&As a little bit more often, because sometimes just great shit ends up happening.
Yeah, let's segue for a minute into this. I want to talk about this for a minute, because where this is another one of those things where I had a fun idea, and I could potentially totally fuck myself. Excuse my language. So I thought that like a couple of guys would want to participate in this. Should have known free stuff brings everybody out. Mm-hmm. So
I honestly thought you were going to limit it to like.
I'm going to. This morning, and then everyone is pleading their case. They're giving me their stats. I got everybody's baseball card today. Yep. I'm 5'11", 210. I've been following Blackstone Labs for 4 years, and I'm a perfect candidate because I do this.
My favorite is when they say they've been following Blackstone Labs from like 2 years before it was. Even,
I've been following Blackstone Labs since 2009.
I'm like, true. That's impressive. You've been following us since before it was fucking thought about. That's amazing.
So the amount of emails, right? So I had, as of this morning, I had 63 emails for people that want to do this, right? I thought it was going to be like maybe
I'm trying
10.
I'm trying to get them stacks.
So if you think about that, means I would have to give out Brutal Force twice for 63 people, PCT twice for 63 people, and then either Chosen One or Super Straw. So
join the Legion.
Yeah, I would upset a lot of people, especially my partner, I'm sure, my dad, shipping, by doing that. So what we're going to do is we'll pick a decent amount. I'm going to have to pick like 10 or 12. I think the most fair way to do it is just like randomly do it. But now that I've said that, I'm getting more emails from most of those people over why they should also be picked. So proving Sammy wrong, which I will do in the end, is proven to give me a lot of extra work and a headache right now. And I know there's going to be people mad if they don't get picked. So there's got to be some just straight like crapshoot way.
Boy, the last bet that I had with Sammy was just a lot easier for me to win.
What was it?
It was that he bet that he had named Super Straw 7 when I knew that it was you and I in your house. And I was like, all right, we'll just ask PJ. And he was like, all right. And he asked you and he was like, all right, you win.
Yeah, this one's going to take a little while too. It's a few months.
Everybody's got to do.
But everybody has to post about their results. So that's what's going on with that.
All right. So the next one says, I have an anterior pelvic tilt. Is it possible to correct this with exercise? If so, what do you recommend I do? Wolfpack on IG.
I mean,
Wolfpack Eric.
You can correct it with corrective exercise, but you're going to need a muscle work guy, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a chiropractor also. Like if you had somebody like Don working with you and a chiropractor, you could go about doing these things, but it's going to take some time because your muscles have now changed to compensate for the tilt. And so you're going to be tight in certain areas, loose in certain areas. You're going to have to get into some serious body work to be able to get that fixed. And by body work, I mean manipulation, like, fascial flushing, ART, deep tissue massage, chiropractic. You can't just go in the gym and train and have it fixed.
Doctor's going to have to lay you on a table and crack your bones really bad.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, next one says, it's from our boy Mike Peskin. It says, can you talk about DNP, how to use it, and what the lowest dose that will give a safe result?
DNP. Have you ever heard of DNP before?
I have.
You have? Why?
Just, it came up in conversations.
Jeez. But you haven't done it, right?
Of course not.
Okay.
How old are you?
22.
Okay.
So DNP was very popular a long time ago and made a little bit of a resurgence when I was competing. And then it got quiet for a while, and I wonder, there's been questions about it lately. I wonder if it's been popping around again. So DNP was really the first dietary fat burner that was ever sold legally to the public all the way back in the 60s, I believe. And you had these miners that were getting shredded, and because they were absorbing it through their skin, and then long story short, it became a household product, but people were overdosing on it. And this is extremely Cliff Notes, by the way, because this is just me giving you some fun facts. People were overdosing on it and basically cooking themselves is the best way that I could put it. And they eventually took it off the market. So what happens is DNP is an uncoupling agent, which is also what Chosen Horse.
Chosen Horse.
That's
actually my favorite product.
Yes, that's the one that only we have. This is also what Trojan Horse does, just to a much lesser degree, but it also, it'll increase your core temperature, and your body is sort of walking around in a state of a fever, and you're just burning. And in a low and controlled amount, you'll be essentially cooking fat off your body. And I have actually taken it, and it's very interesting the way that it works, because you're very hot, and because it's an uncoupling agent, you're just releasing all these cells, including free radicals, into your body. So some people get sick when they do it. Some people sweat really brown sweat through their skin, because you have to remember these toxins and everything are all coming out into your system as well.
Yo, I take any substance and I start sweating brown sweat. Yeah. I'm going to be like, fuck, I did it this time. This is not good.
Right?
My sweat never turned brown, but my semen turned a yellowish color. Dope. And that's pretty fucking weird.
That's always good.
And I've had other guys say that as well. So the more common way to use it back then was the pills were typically capsules that were running 200 to 250 milligrams per cap. And most smart people just did one a day for 14 days. And then they would take a 14-day off period where most people would go on L-carnitine and tartrate form to kind of help clean things out the right way. Some people that were going real hardcore, I've actually tried this before, went to ECA in between, and then the crazy people went to Clen in between. So the old DNP Clen cycle is, I saw a lot of that one, because you can go fairly hard for 2 weeks with Clen before it wrecks your receptors. And I know people that were going back and forth with those. Do I recommend that one? Hell no.
Nothing like being hot and shaky back and forth.
To be honest with you, I would prefer DNP over Clen any day of the week, because Clen makes me feel like shit. Clen makes a lot of people feel like shit. DNP are going to be really, really hot. But I'll tell you, I've never taken a fat burner that affected me as fast as DNP, where I was still eating a lot of food. I did it in the beginning of my prep once. Calories were still hard. And I swear I got leaner every fucking day on that shit. I was like, Jesus. And you hold a little film of water, but it's nothing to be that stressed out about. So I probably did it a total in 2 years of.
So wait, it's a fat burner that burns fat really quick, but it gives you a film.
You have a little bit of water that you hold. It's just from like all the crap that's coming out of your body, the toxins,
the free radicals and shit.
And so they usually say to stop it like a week before the show, because all the fat's going to be gone by then anyway, and you'll lose a little bit of that water.
Flush it.
I was never somebody that really held a ton of water anyway, but I think I probably did it a total of like, I would say a good 4 times. And each time it worked really, really good. So I think it's got a really bum rap, because people, just like anything else, take way too much of it. And if you take too much of it, you could elevate your core temperature so much that you could cook your organs. You know, that's how you would die.
That seems like an awesome way to go.
Yeah, just burning yourself up.
It just would feel absolutely incredible.
Ridiculous. So there are horror stories of people that have done that. And, you know, that's why it's considered to be so dangerous.
Man,
you can make yourself blind. Like if your temperature gets that high, if your fever's that high, you can go blind. There's a lot of bad things, obviously, that can happen. Like go brain dead.
What the fuck? How bad do you want to be shredded?
Right? Is it really worth it?
Just eat some fucking carrots. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Eat some carrots, guys.
All right. Next one says, "Hey PJ, hope all is well with you. I enjoy the cardio Q&As when I can catch them. I've become a rather busy person and can't hit the gym 5 days a week like I used to. I can commit to 3 days a week at the gym. What training split would you recommend for 3 days a week? Best regards, Paul of Attraction."
Just 3 days a week?
That's what he says.
You're a trainer, right?
Yeah.
Do you have anybody that trains just 3 days a week?
Yeah, I have some girls that train actually 3 days a week exactly.
What do you tell them when they only want to train 3 days a week?
Well, with girls, it's different, because with girls, they don't need to train upper body, especially if they're just trying to tone up. Yeah.
Are they going to do a lot of cardio?
I do have them do cardio every time we train together, yeah.
Because to me, I feel like 3 days is the absolute lowest that you should go to the gym.
Yep, I agree.
But I guess if you went really hard on those 3 days,
like kill yourself hard.
Yep.
Also, are you making one of those days a leg day? Because then you got to get everything else in 2 days. Or are you just like, fuck legs, I'll walk around, that's my leg workout, and I'm just going to do chest, back, and arms? Or
that's like what a lot of guys do anyways. So
yeah, I guess so. I mean, look, if you're only going to go 3 days, you just got to get a lot done and make the most of it, because that's truly the lowest amount. I think you can do a lot in 4 days. I think 5 is ideal. Many girls that I know train 6 or 7 days a week. That's overkill. But girls often, when they get bit by the fitness bug, I'm on my 4th leg workout this week, and so I think 5 is a really good recipe for training hard, recovering properly, getting everything done, because you can do one body part a day, and you can get a break day in the middle and a break day at the end. I think 5 is great. If you want to train 6 or 7, just make sure you're eating enough to recover and getting some sleep. But I think 5 is awesome. 4, it can be done. 3 is the bare minimum. So you just got to make sure you're getting the key stuff in. If I was only going to train 3 days a week, I'd probably do a lot of compound exercises. Like I'd have now I can't do shit because of my injuries, but if I was injury free, I'd have a day where I did like lots of presses, a day where I did lots of like pulls, rowing moves, where I was getting a lot done at once. And then, a day where I did some squats and compound stuff. So I was stimulating my nervous system and my body.
So you would basically have like a push day, a pull day, and a leg day.
Essentially, yeah. I would train like Ab.
There you go.
I would train like Ab.
True. There you go. Push, pull, legs.
Little nugget training.
Next one says, hi, I have some questions for... Okay. So this is a vulgar one.
Oh, boy. I could tell by his reaction we're getting something here.
I was like, as soon as I read her name, but so there's 3. And the first one is like a 2-parter. And should I just let her read it?
Do you want to read the question if it freaks
before
you out?
I say it out loud? So that way there you don't
How about you read it? Just because that.
You want me to read it out loud?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let's see what this is.
I have some questions for mizforeignfit. Number 1, do you get horny after workouts? And if so, was sex after workout a usual thing?
I think that, I don't want to answer for you, but I've been training girls for years. And for starters, you get the endorphin high, which makes you feel good anyway. But you actually boost your testosterone level when you train. So a lot of girls that I've dated over the years, they want to have sex after they work out. So, I mean, that's actually a scientifically accurate question. I mean, I'm sure he's just being pervy, but that's actually a scientifically accurate question.
So I don't have a problem answering that, actually. It honestly depends on what time of the day I go to the gym. Because if I had a long day and have to get my gym session in and it's at nighttime, honestly, I'm not going to be that horny just because I'm just tired from throughout the day. But I do agree with you that let's say like I don't have anything to do and I go to the gym. Yeah, it does happen that I could get a little bit horny after my workout, just because, I take my pre-workout and I'm up and I feel energetic and I feel good, and so to answer that question, sometimes.
Now, anybody that catches you in the gym is going to try to talk to you after your workout.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta be ready
for post-workout shake, my place, or...
Yeah, so far as like vulgary questions could go, that's actually scientifically accurate. So
and I will applaud you for the composure there.
Yeah.
But they don't get better.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So number 2 is, how many rounds of sex have you had the most in one day? And by all means, feel free to deny any of these questions or Mr. Manager.
You want to give an over/under?
The third one's worse. So.
Oh my God! It just
third one's worse.
Getting worse.
Let me hear the third one.
Have you experienced a guy coming too early but then recovers quickly and goes back on the grinding? By the way, this guy's name is Ladislav Yankov.
Oh, he's like Lithuanian, perhaps. He's like, I must break her.
Where?
Oh man.
If this was Coach K, I would want her to answer these questions.
I know.
Actually.
No, if it was Coach K, I wouldn't have such a problem
but
asking them. But this is, slightly.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I am acting as Sabrina's manager, and I would prefer the pervier questions to be withheld at this time. She's young. She's only 22. I could be her dad.
Maybe on the second podcast.
Yes. Let's get some normal ones.
But applaud for answering the first one. So
yes, that was a good answer. That actually scientifically does happen. So.
Yeah.
And I think that it was a much better answer for the viewers than just being like, yo, I'm uncomfortable. Like, no, I don't want to talk about this.
I have blew my load fast and then come back and finish stronger the second time. So you can tell him that about me.
Boom.
There you go. There's your answer. Whatever your name was. I can't pronounce it.
All right. He says, what's good, fam? First off, I want to say that y'all are killing it with the sweet tea Trojan horse flavor. For Miss Sabrina Lee, do you plan on getting any more ink on your back?
You know, I've been thinking about it. I've been wanting to, but I know that PJ has plans for me in the future, and he is not so thrilled about the tattoos and stuff like that. So
certain tattoos.
I don't
want her to pull a daughter Shelby.
Yeah.
And get a cemetery with Darth Vader overlooking it on her ass and thigh, which is basically what Shelby did.
Yeah.
That's just an opinion of a loving father.
Yeah, I suppose. On the part of her body that I asked her to please leave alone. She was like, not only am I going to not listen to you, I am going to get Darth Vader angrily looking over a cemetery. I still don't understand what that tattoo, like even people that are close to her don't really know.
# you're not my real dad.
Yeah. Do you know what her tattoo is?
I looked at it on the picture and it was very hard for me to distinguish what it was. I don't even think it's Darth Vader.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It looks like Darth Vader to me.
I haven't seen it.
She was very offended by me asking her why she had Darth Vader on her leg.
Because it wasn't Darth Vader.
No, I was like, I don't know. I thought maybe you love Star Wars or something.
Well, that's like
a lot of the guys here love Star Wars, so I didn't know.
I have like a Benjamin Franklin tattoo on my leg, and I love when people come up and say like the wrong president's name. Like,
They're like, why do you like Andrew Jackson so much?
Why do you have George Washington on your leg? I don't know.
We love you, Shelby, though.
Ben Franklin is a very like noticeable face though. Like
he also wasn't a president,
but it's like such a noticeable face.
Yeah. What mine also does have dreadlocks.
Oh, it's Ben Franklin with dreadlocks.
Wow. Yeah. So, and he also had a second part to his question, which was, I had an ex-girlfriend that loved getting it on in public settings. So what's the craziest place you've had sex? All hail the Coxman, big wave.
I don't even know because I've had sex in such weird places before. Like nothing gross like a dumpster or anything like that. But
I love how your brain immediately went to dumpster.
It was a conversation I had with somebody the other day. It was still in my head. If that person's listening, then they'll laugh to themselves about this. I mean, like obviously plenty of bathrooms in public places and
basically anywhere but a dumpster.
Anywhere but a dumpster.
Boom.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to like really think of anything off the top of my head that was too weird because I'll go home later and be like, oh yeah, and then there was that time. A lot of them are so far like back. You know, I'm getting up there now. You know, I'm 38 years old, so I've been having sex for 20 years. And so like some of them, like if you think about, oh yeah, when I was 19, I did this on a boat that was like parked in somebody's driveway.
Right.
You know, like weird shit like that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even remember. You know what? You could like play that game where like somebody says a thing, and if you did it, you fucking drink, and if you didn't, you don't. Although I don't drink anymore, so I probably shouldn't play that game. But I just can't remember. How about that? My answer is I do not remember the weirdest place. Sabrina, I don't want you to answer that question. Actually, it makes me uncomfortable.
I think the only one that comes to mind is when I was in high school, freshman year. This girl stole her dad's brand new Ford F-150 King Ranch, and like she came to my house, but I couldn't bring her in the house, so I just banged her in her dad's truck in the front yard. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, worked out.
Yeah, that
was a
good.
big fucking truck.
Yeah, plenty of room.
Those King Ranches are huge.
Plenty of room. Yeah.
All right, next question comes from our boy Garrett Teets. Says, here, it says right at the top, please don't read it aloud right away. So I'll just let you read that. We're not used to such long silences on the podcast.
I'm reading it all.
It's okay. We want to make sure that we don't violate anybody's privacy. Because in previous episodes, somebody like sent this big, long, like pretty vulgar sexual question, and then at the end of it, they were like, "Please don't put my name out there." We're like, "Well, we already that's the wrong place to put it. In the future, put it in the beginning if you don't want us to say it."
Well, the questions for us are dramatically different. Hers is an easier one. I'll answer the question though. I mean, it's really just an opinion-based question. So I appreciate his concern for me speaking on something that's not all that politically correct to talk about these days, but I will speak on it.
So it says, PJ, with the increased number of athletes coming out as transgender, how long do you think it will be before we have our first transgender bodybuilder? Do you think this is something that could even be achieved? Feel free to not answer if not wanted to due to the amount of controversy behind the subject. Wouldn't want Blackstone possibly getting a bad rep if things are said that might go against what others believe.
So I guess the big question is going to be, where would the transgender bodybuilder compete?
Yeah, what
actual class?
I just realized this could potentially be based on the transgender woman competing in women's powerlifting and beating all the actual women.
Well, the one situation that I'll tell you one spot that I had a problem. And it just shouldn't be allowed. It just shouldn't be allowed. And people that were trying to be, I guess, politically correct in this situation really almost cost a girl her life. And it's honestly, like, in my opinion, a crime that they allowed this to happen. So there was a MMA fight. And it was the first transgender MMA fight where a guy who went through the whole process to become a woman, became a woman, and then decided to fight in the MMA.
A woman.
Another woman. And crushed her skull in so bad that almost caused brain damage and like almost killed her.
Oh my gosh.
And a man's upper body, regardless of them being in the same weight class, is just so much more powerful than a woman's. Now, women can train to be really strong. I know some strong, K. Graham's strong as fuck.
I don't want to fight Jenna Guerrero.
No, I don't want to fight Jenna Guerrero either. They're strong. But you got two trained fighters, one that's been training as a woman her whole life, one that has had a man's muscle
for most of his
life.
And a man's hormone for most of his life.
Typically, the bone structure is going to be dramatically different. And there's plenty of literature on this. Like, a woman's skull is typically not going to be as thick as a man's. Men are just bigger people. So even though they may have weighed the same and it was a fairly weighed weight class, a woman weighing 165 is often going to look dramatically different than a man. There's usually going to be more weight in the lower body, whatever. So that's a situation where I truly, truly think that it was unacceptable to allow that to happen. Now, from a physique aspect of it, so if you're the man and you decide to go full sex change to become a woman, and then you go to compete in the figure division, I think you're going to be at a major disadvantage. If you go to compete in the women's physique division, though, I think you'll have an advantage because you can pose around it in a way where you probably look pretty good. And I guess if you go to compete in the bodybuilding division, you would be at an advantage. So I guess those would be where those would be your options. So the thing is this. Here's my thing. If you're going to go through the process, it's a pretty tough process of going from, like, let's say you're going from a man to a woman, right? That's a whole procedure. There's a lot of hormones involved, everything else. If you're going to go again from that process into bodybuilding, you're actually going backwards because many of them don't want to speak about it, but most female bodybuilders are using male hormones to look like that. So it kind of defeats the purpose.
Right. Why
not just stay the way that you are then and bodybuild? Yeah. You can actually save yourself a lot of trouble. Just bodybuild. There you go.
It's just not what I feel.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But I mean, I just think that, for it to be viewed as wrong because a woman almost died from it, and then if you take the exact same scenario and say, well, a woman only lost her title, or she only lost some money from a competition, or whatever it is, it's the same level of fucked up. Like, why this is being allowed, I don't understand, because it doesn't make sense. Like, I just don't see how you can possibly think that somebody that has lived the majority of their life as a man using the muscle and density of a man to build their physique as a man for X amount of years and then just decides one day, we'll snip some shit off and then say like it's not the same. Nah, bro, your shit's probably still just as strong. Like that's pretty fucked up. Like, and so whether you're doing that or whether you're doing a deadlift or a bench press and beating an actual woman who deserves the fucking title, who's held the title maybe for 5 years or whatever, and now you're going to come and take it from her because you have some fucking complex.
Very unfair. That
you need to fulfill. Like, wow, applaud to you.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I just can't, I can't get behind it. I don't understand. Like,
I think a lot of people are afraid to speak their mind on it because the people that have spoken their mind on it or perhaps have said things that are, inaccurate, it's like set people off.
Yeah.
Set people off. But
sets off all those women that train all that time and then get wrecked by a man.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you, I really do enjoy, though. I do enjoy. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, are watching the videos of like some of the transgender like mistakes and like when they call like sir.
Oh,
it's ma'am. It's fucking ma'am, motherfucker. Excuse my language. I love watching those.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. The one with the dude in the dress.
Yep. I love
those. Like a fucking beard.
I'm like, if I was there, I'd be like, it's ma'am. You should have called her. You should have called her ma'am.
You should have called him ma'am.
You should have called him ma'am. Look at how mad.
Look at how mad you made him.
Look at how mad that dude is now.
His lipstick is everywhere.
Oh my God. That is a good one.
All right. And
they're in like a game store or something.
Oh yeah, it is a game store.
It's in a game store. Right. You got Eric in there trying to mind his own business. It's fucking ma'am.
Eric's the one that took the video. He's like, it's fucking ma'am. He also has a question, says, Sabrina, as a gorgeous female who is serious in the gym, you probably attract massive amounts of attention the second you walk in. #booty. Do you oftentimes find this distracting or creepy when guys are very obviously checking you out? Have there been situations where you have actually been approached? What is the number one wrong and creepy thing a guy can do or that has happened to you in the gym? Much love from the Legion, Garrett Teets.
So absolutely not. I do not pay attention to it whatsoever, especially in the gym. I go into the gym very focused to go do my own thing. So I do not pay attention to it at all. It's funny because I actually have other people pay more attention to it than I do myself. And I'll actually have people come up to me and be like, doesn't it bother you that, people stare at you or guys stare at you? And I'm just like, honestly, I don't even see it. I'm just too focused on myself.
The zone.
Yeah, I'm just too in the zone to be paying attention if people are looking at me or whatever. And then the most creepiest thing that a guy could probably do is videos.
Like sneaky videos?
Like sneaking in videos. And it's funny because this has happened to me twice already. Once in the supermarket and once in the gym where I had caught a guy with his flash on and I was like, oh, he's probably just, taking a picture. I don't know. But his flash was on and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Why is his flash on and it's like there's like light out? So I was like sneaky and I went around and you could just tell him like put his phone down and I was like, okay, this guy was clearly taking a video not knowing that his flash was on while he was taking the video.
That's the worst way to get caught.
That's the
worst way to get caught.
Yeah, so that's probably the most creepiest thing that a guy could do, for sure.
That's for sure. Hilarious.
What if a guy
in the supermarket too? Like it's one thing at the gym.
Supermarket too, yeah.
When you're like, I was taking a selfie of myself. You can see the mirror behind you. What do you mean? It wasn't you.
With the flash on during.
We're both in this picture.
Yeah.
What is acceptable in the gym? Like what's okay? Like what if a guy, right, doesn't even fuck up your workout, doesn't really get in your way, but like let's say you just crushed a set of squats, and you like rack the weight, and the guy looks at you and says, "Good set."
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally acceptable, and that's not creepy at all.
All right, same scenario.
Okay.
What if you crush a set and he looks at you and goes, "You have to go deeper next time"?
That could be. I don't know.
That's gonna make you mad.
That's gonna be a little. I mean, it might be funny, I guess.
She said she's Puerto Rican. She'd probably just deck you.
No, I don't think that would be creepy. Depending on also how the guy looks. If he's not a lifter and he comes up to me and tells me that I need to go deeper on my squat, I'm be like,
You can be like, why don't you show me how to do it?
Yeah, show
like,
me.
Skinny man.
Hit it for 20.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see how low you go, big boy.
I don't really talk to people in the gym, and I get in a zone too. Marissa always notices shit. She'll be like, that girl is looking at you. This guy over here is talking about you. This. I'm like, weird.
I know.
Yeah, I'm just like.
But I move fast when I'm in the gym. I move.
I don't. I'm the same way. Like, she'll notice shit way before me. The only shit that I notice that really pisses me off is if it's happening directly between me and the mirror. If you're doing some shit directly between me and the fucking mirror, I notice you.
Yeah.
Because you're in my fucking way.
Which is rude. I mean,
rude.
you just don't do that.
Yeah.
I even wait. Like, if somebody's doing shit in the mirror, even if I'm in a rush, I'm like, oh, I got to wait because I don't want to fuck up this guy's mirror space. That's just proper etiquette.
Yep. All right. Next one says, what's up, PJ, Colonel, and mizforeignfit? PJ, just wondering if you would send out an email to those who you chose for this experiment. You mentioned my name on IG as definitely being included, so I just wanted to confirm. mizforeignfit, how rough was training with PJ? What was your favorite exercise and least favorite? Josh, your car is fire. two car comments in one podcast. Wow. I'll take it. P.S. mizforeignfit, can I get a follow on IG, please?
Who is this from?
R_A_Serrano.
Oh, R.A. Serrano. That's my boy. Yes, you are. You're in no matter what I said. And no, I didn't send emails out yet because I'm thinking of a generic response to start all of them with because there's so many. And I have to send somebody I have to write something to somebody, copy and paste it okay, this is going to be my starter response to everybody back because it's going to be so many email exchanges if I don't. I got one guy today started on Tuesday, over his Legion credit, that emailed me 7 fucking times the same thing since Tuesday, So if that's one person, I can only imagine what could potentially happen with 63 guys right now. Not sure if they're getting their emails or this or that. So I got to put some thought into this weekend. We got a lot going on. But I told them on today's Q&A that they would know a lot by Monday. And then things will get shipped out next week for sure.
And if somehow...
But we just put it out yesterday. Come on, guys. I'll do it. You're getting a lot of free stuff out of this.
So how rough was training with PJ? What was your favorite and least favorite exercises?
It was fun. Okay. It was fun. And rough, of course. And definitely our glute ham day was my favorite just because I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious. Legs are my favorite to train. And it was pretty brutal. He put me through a lot of time under tension exercises. The best exercise probably that I liked the most was the variations of the seated hamstring curl.
Oh, yeah. Showed her some little tricks on there today.
Yes, I really liked that a lot. And I was telling PJ that my hamstrings are my weak spot. So just knowing those little tricks that I could now include in my own routines when I go to the gym by myself is really, really good for me.
Hell yeah. Fun times.
Yes.
And least favorite. What was your least favorite? What did you hate the most?
Least favorite? Ooh. Probably the sumos. The sumo ones. Those ones were pretty painful.
Yeah, I was making her do a lot of really slow repetitions.
Yeah.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, it makes it a lot. Sometimes when something sucks, you're just like, all right, I'm going to do this fast and get it over with.
And that's why you have to do it.
Yeah, so you're doing it slow and they suck a lot worse. I actually made Marissa do those today. I was like, you know what? Let's make somebody else suffer this week.
Pick another one tomorrow. Hey, you.
Hey, you.
Get over here. Do some deads. Next one says, hello, PJ and Josh. Question is, I see people training, and there's times I see people use light weights but use bands. What's that all about? I don't get it.
Well, it's that's just a different way to apply tension consistently to the muscle. So let's say you see, I mean, there's so many ways that you can include bands, but I'm just going to give you an example. So let's say you see somebody on the bench press, right? And they got a 25 on each side, and you're like, that guy's got no weight on there, but then he has bands that could be anywhere from 20 to 100 pounds of resistance on each side. So that changes the weight at the range of motion to completely different spots, right? So to try to better explain, let's say somebody adds on a total of 100 pounds in resistance bands, right? So they've got 100 pounds on the bar and they got 100 pounds of resistance bands. So that's 200 pounds total. The 200 pounds is only going to be hardest at the peak level of contraction. It gets easier as you go down. It gets harder as you go up. So the resistance is changing, but you still have tension on the whole time. So this is great for making a lighter weight a lot heavier. It's good for explosion. It's good for keeping a muscle under tension longer. It's a little easier on the joints. So there's a lot of things you can do with lightweight and then bands added to stimulate the muscle in a much different way. There's certain exercises that adding a band in, even there's free weight exercises that you could add a band in and kind of change the dynamic of the exercise, like a squat. You can actually put bands around your legs, around your knees when you squat, which will hold your knees in place, and you'll actually be able to squat relatively pain-free in your knees when you do that. And you're staying parallel. And when your knees stay parallel, you're at your body's proper function. You know, when you walk, you're supposed to walk, boom, 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 in a straight line. You're not supposed to walk with your knees and feet all out like that. And that throws your spine off. It throws everything off. So, you know, it's essentially helping you stay in your proper plane of motion. So there's a lot of things that you can do to enhance normal free weight exercises with adding in the lightweight bands.
All right. This is the last one.
The last one. So far, so good, right? Only one weird one?
Yeah. Only one.
We actually... We appreciate the weird questions.
We usually encourage them.
Because most of my questions are about steroids, and I'm like, every fucking show, excuse my language, I answer them. I'm here to answer the questions. But I want weird sex questions. I want people to ask me like weird things that like turn me on and stuff.
It's never a bad time.
It's never.
No.
Next one says, hello, Lord Braun. I'm back again to ask another question. 2 months ago, I started taking Chosen One and Brutal Force, added in Methaquad 2 weeks ago, and I've been seeing great progress. As a recovering fat guy, I'm going to be having lab work done mid-July in preparation to visiting an HRT doctor, and want to know how many weeks in advance I should stop taking the supplements so they do not show up or make my levels higher than they should be while off. I attached a couple pictures to show my progress over the last 5 years. First is before starting in March. Second is from this past week. And the last is when I was 532 pounds in 2014. Damn. And then 266 1 year later in 2015. Thanks again, recovering fat guy.
Does he have the pictures?
Yep.
Let's see.
So this is 520 to 266.
Congratulations, dude.
Whoa. Holy crap.
And then...
you lost a freaking whole person.
This is the most recent.
A big whole person.
Look.
Holy shit.
Nice.
Right?
That's amazing. Like, I love those. I love those giant weight loss stories, man.
He's got better biceps than me now.
He's got arms like Billy.
His bicep does look like Billy's.
It's very full. Those are I love massive weight loss stories. That's how I first started many years ago in the mid 2000s, was doing big weight loss stuff, and had a lot of fun. My first 100-pound weight loss was a guy named Garrett Elias. I'll never forget it. It was a fun time. And he did it relatively fast. He did it in like 9 months. And then when he lost all the weight, want to know what he wanted to do? Get jacked.
Yep.
He was like, all right, well, I lost all this fat. I've been looking at you all juiced out all the time. It's time to get big. And I was like, well, now I'm going to teach you how to do some fun stuff. So the best thing that you can do if you want to go to the HRT doctor and get yourself some HRT is actually do our pro hormones, because when you stop taking them, you're going to crash. And that's the perfect time to go into the doctor and be like, hey man, I don't know what's going on. My hormones are low. You know, I would sell it like this. I'm going to tell you how to maximize using a really good pro hormone to get yourself up to the next level, right? Because the pro hormones are going to suppress your testosterone. They're that strong. You know, they're strong enough. So let me explain some normal science to you guys. If you go on and start taking shots of testosterone from the doctor, now that you have this exogenous testosterone in your body, at all times, your body's natural production just stops. Doesn't need it. You're just injecting it in every week. So your body's like, well, I don't need this anymore. I got all this excess coming in. Your body's kind of smart in that regard, you know, knows that it's got it there. So when you stop taking these shots of testosterone, your body just doesn't say, oh, let's get to work again. Sometimes it takes a long time. There's things the doctors can give you to bring it back, etc. So when you take pro hormones, the strong pro hormones that we make, they're so strong that your body views it as getting all this extra androgen in your body. So it actually will, in most cases, stop producing your testosterone. So if you're trying really hard to go and get prescribed testosterone and you can't because the doctor's like, your testosterone's too high, it's going to lower from taking the products. So I would run the products, get the most out of them. And then when you go to the PCT phase, which is where you go to bring everything back, that's going to be the phase that you want to go and get your blood work done. If anything, you could probably go, I would say 5 to 7 days after the last oral, and you're going to be pretty low at that point because you're going to be crashed out and suppressed. Go in there, tell them that you're tired, tell them that your sex drive is low, that your testosterone is low, which it should be, right? If you're not taking anything at that point. And then you can get yourself some prescribed testosterone. That's, to be honest with you, a lot of guys do that without having the strategy. So I just gave you the strategy that some people make, oh man, shouldn't give people strategies like that. But a lot of people over the years, they don't know any better. They go and do some steroids. They get, I'm going to get some muscles for the summer. And then they screw themselves up. And there's months and months go by and they don't know what the hell's wrong with themselves because they didn't realize all the ins and outs of taking steroids and what happens. That's why HRT has become so big, because there are so many other things that can screw you up. Sometimes you can get screwed up, believe it or not, if you have a problem with painkillers. There's a condition called opiad, and it's guys that have taken like too much heroin or too much oxys. They wreck their androgen receptors and they actually wind up getting really depressed, tired, and no sex drive because their testosterone tanks out. And I've had this conversation with people about that before. That's a real thing that you can get prescribed HRT for. So there's a lot of things that can wreck your test. So nowadays, modern medicine has made it so you can feel young and healthy well into your 50s, 60s, and 70s by getting on a HRT. Now, listen, if you're 22 years old, you shouldn't be screwing yourself up just for the sake of getting on HRT. But once you're over 25, you're not going to be any better than that. So that's when you want to start looking into that stuff more and more.
And I don't know if we want to end with some banter, or if we got anything else that we wanted to ask mizforeignfit before we close this one out.
Is there anything that you haven't done yet that you'd like to do while you're down here? Go fishing.
Go fishing.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't fish. If Trevor was here, he'd take you fishing.
If Trevor was here, she would have already been fishing.
Yeah, you'd probably fish right across the pond over there.
She would have already caught 2 bass if Trevor was here.
Cody Montgomery caught a bunch of fish here one day. Fishing is a big thing in Florida.
Right.
Yes. I don't fish. I would like to. I just don't have time.
It's really boring, actually. I don't know.
Now when you go on them fucking marlin boats and those things, those swordfish will fucking stab you.
Oh shit.
Get them on the boat. They're still flopping around.
They love stabbing little Spanish girls. That's like their
favorite thing.
They see you on the boat and they just launch themselves at you like spears,
like a heat-seeking missile. But it's alive.
They're slimy and humongous. You know who goes fishing all the time? Your buddy. I actually see all his stuff. His stuff, for some reason, Instagram wants me to see all his stuff. Nolan. I see him fishing all the time.
Dude, he's a professional fucking fisherman.
Like deep sea fisherman.
Like that motherfucker go out and catch a fucking fish the size of his boat.
Like humongous things that I would, if I saw that shit in the water, I would die in a heartbeat. I would just be like, I'm dead.
And
I'm dead. Take me now.
Fish that are like way bigger than you.
He's like fighting it for like 3 hours on like steel line and shit. I'm like, oh, that sounds like fun.
Is that how he got so lean?
No, he got so lean by being a psychopath in the gym, but that didn't help. Going on the boat,
He's
afterwards,
just burning up calories, reeling in those huge ass fish.
Dude, well, he'll go and destroy himself at cardio at Lifetime, and then he goes out on the boat all day. Like, yeah, you're gonna lose weight. Like, so he's always sunburned.
He's super lean now. Good for him.
Yeah.
You know what we can talk about to end the show, because I think this is a pretty hilarious new subject. The interests that we all have according to Instagram.
Yes.
So this is something that David showed me yesterday, and we did it again today. So if you go into your settings on Instagram, you know those little 3 lines at the top right hand side, click on those, and then you go, where do you go? Scroll.
I forget what it is. I'm gonna have to look.
You go into your insights, maybe?
No, it's settings, security, access data. Scroll all the way to the bottom, go to ads and view all, and then it pops. See, like my list has been cut in half since we checked it a couple hours ago.
Maybe they knew that you were making fun of it.
They must have. But the top half is, oh no, view more. Okay. So mine is like strange. Handbags, El Paso, Texas, which I believe is because I liked probably one of your most recent posts.
Yeah, makes sense.
Skip hop, which I don't know what the fuck that is.
Skip hop. Maybe it's like.
Amphibian.
What? I like, wait.
Kendrick Lamar. Saturday. Online food ordering, which I do that.
That makes sense, yep.
Squatting position, which makes sense.
Hilarious.
Machinist, black work. I have no idea what black work is.
My first one that I've been laughing at this all day is Out Magazine, which I had to Google to figure out what that is, and I encourage all of our listeners to do it too because you'll all get a good laugh out of it. But apparently that's what Instagram feels that I am the most interested in.
Well, my two favorite on my ads interest lists are right next to each other, and it's self-love and then cake. Cake. Self-love and cake.
Where do I go on here again?
Go to your settings, go to security, access data, and then scroll all the way to the bottom.
There's nothing there.
Just keep scrolling.
Oh, there we go.
And then hit view all. And then load more, view more.
Okay, I have first one, heavy metal music.
Wow, that's.
And then I have dentistry. Probably because I follow like a couple dentists, I guess. Then I have National Academy of Sports and Medicine.
Oh, NASA.
Mm-hmm.
Good certification.
That makes sense.
Record producer, Guyana,
the actual country?
I guess. Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
True.
Nice.
Northern Europe, De La Ghetto, The Breakfast Club, punk rock, cable television, sculpture, South Asia, Audi, and Islamabad, another country.
Do you watch The Breakfast Club?
Yeah.
Well, there we go. At least one's right.
Yeah. The rest is weird.
Yeah, exactly. Like a couple of squatting position is definitely, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just think it's so funny that my number one is Out Magazine.
and we have to chalk that up to the fact that you have so many gay followers, because I don't know what else that would. What else would
True.
cause that?
It has to be, yeah.
True.
Which I'm proud of, by the way. Shout out to all my gay followers in Out Magazine. Instagram knows what I like.
or at least it knows what likes you.
Yeah. Yep. I want to know what everybody else is getting in theirs, because there's a lot of weird ones in mine.
Yeah.
So
Like,
yes.
I'm like, Instagram, you got it wrong.
Follow the
Yeah.
instructions that we
Change
just
my
posted.
number 1 to boobs, my number 2 to asses, and then I'll be good. Anything else that can filter after that.
And then my number 3, make it boobs.
Yeah, there you go. Then I'm happy.
Boobs, ass boobs.
So follow the instructions on your Instagram and see what your Instagram thinks you like, and post a screenshot of what your interests are in the comments, so we can see. Because I really would like to know if everybody else's are as strange as ours.
Yeah, everyone in the office all was a little bit perplexed by what was on there.
Well, I think that it goes without saying that we are more than thrilled to have you on the podcast today. You did a great job, even answering
Thank you for having me.
vulgar sexual questions that the Russian gentleman sent in.
Yeah.
I told her, I prepared her a little bit, though. I told her about, like, some of the questions that came in for Kendra.
Yeah. I feel like Kendra's were mild for what we were expecting.
We were
for her.
expecting, yeah. Kendra answered all her. She was like, no, I'll answer these. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool.
Yep. She did good too.
Well, we have to keep on bringing on guests.
Yep. You guys said more hot girls, so we're on the lookout.
Yep. All right, well, I think I've answered anything I can answer today.
Yep. I guess we're going to end this like we always do with a peace out, bye.